So we stayed at the Fargo Air Museum for a couple of nights in Fargo, North Dakota. This is through Harvest Host. They were kind enough to give us water, and we got our actuator fixed here. We had drinks at Buffalo Wild Wings on the rooftop bar, and dinner at Applebee's, and across from the Fargo Dome, where Guns N' Roses shows up tomorrow. So that's Fargo, North Dakota.
In the late 1980s, I joined the Air Force and was promptly sent to a bomber base in the Strategic Air Command system, where I watched bombers. I thought, this is horrible. And my high school buddy Greg, who was also in the Air Force, he got sent to a missile base in North Dakota. And he was always talking about how great it was, how he loved North Dakota. It's the awesomest place he's ever been. He couldn't wait to come back here and be a cattle rancher or some shit. So this is it's a very windy day. Sorry about the wind noise. But we are, there's the dog up in, we're stopping here at a Minuteman Missile Silo State Historical Site, Oscar Zero. There's a thing here that tells us what it's about. Let's take a look. There you go. I'm not going to read it all. I kind of know what it mostly says. Here's the old Air Force kill them if they come sign right here. Use of deadly force is authorized.
Missiles. Thus, each wing was responsible for a total of 150 nuclear missiles. Eventually, the nation would have 1,000 Minuteman missiles in its nuclear arsenal. These missiles could be launched at a moment's notice.
So here we have the rec room.
Look at that. That might. Is that Greg right there? No. No, that might be him. No. So this is where the security supervisor would sit and look out the windows and monitor traffic in and out, and also control entry and exit coming out of the missile command saddle. That's a clearing barrel where you clear your weapons, a couple of clocks, a bunch of old computers. That's the way it looked like in the early 90s, late 80s. There would also be a couple of roving patrols outside, I believe 2 3-man patrols, but I never worked one of these bases, so I don't know.
All of the equipment.
Here at this thing, the missile command where the people were on the left side of the dumbbell, and the other side of the dumbbell was all equipment. Generators, air purifiers, air handlers, all that kind of stuff.
Here we have a blast door. It's about 4 feet thick and made of concrete. Weighs about 13.5 tons. We used a hydraulic pump system on both sides of the door so it could be opened from both the inside and out. And I'm told it was about 100 pumps to extend or retract the pins in the side of the door, in or out of the wall. Every missileer coming down on their shift would first have to do a quick equipment check in gear. So they would have to come to the door, do 100 pumps, step inside, and because it always had to be closed for security, do 100 pumps again to shut it right away.
This is one of the things I thought was interesting. This whole floor is a free floating floor. It's actually suspended from the ceiling by that big green looking shock absorber. There's one on each corner, so just those 4 shock absorbers hold up all that equipment. And I guess it allows the whole floor to shake something like 2 feet without damaging anything. Both of the floors are like that. The one in this equipment room and the one on the other side where the missileers are.
If they were doing their equipment checks or any maintenance. Those structures were programmed to detect either a change in air pressure from either something like a nuclear strike or a tornado. The main difference is that this one weighs 9 tons and can only be opened from the inside. Here, and if one missileer ever had a medical emergency, like a heart attack or stroke. It's like, I can all those things. Love when we get kids because they just run through and their parents are like, hey, hey. Any missileers coming onto their shift would have been in here for the full 24 hours unless your equipment did literally start on fire and you were still encouraged to put out yourself. So if you were expecting strikes in the area, you would strap into your seat, and then there were railings on the floor so you could get to any necessary equipment if you were either going through the launch process yourself or trying to fix something that had broke without risking getting up and getting thrown into anything. Here we have various towers of equipment including telephone, radio, various antenna and alarm systems, as well as the television system. This is the deputy commander station. Someone had to be sitting here at almost all times. Basically, the only exception was if you did have to take a drawer out. But otherwise, someone should always be here keeping an eye on your group status, as well as your secondary flight group status. What you wanted to see was the top row always all lit up, strat alert. That meant that everything was functioning properly, so that was called clean and green. The second to bottom row is the security row. That indicated that an alarm had been tripped at one of the silo missiles from the commander's station using alphanumeric codes. But because it was just alphanumeric codes, just letters and numbers, you were never supposed to know where you were aiming. You just knew for sure somewhere probably in Russia or China. Yeah, we aren't allowed to know much about the commander's station. That is actually why they're... Apparently at the time the artist had become a recluse, but he was able to get in contact with their agent, get the rights to use that image in the Grand Forks Air Force Base throughout the wing and facility.
Wow.
Well, the missile silo tour is actually pretty cool. It was very interesting. A lot of the stuff they described, the security stuff anyway, sounds familiar to what we did up in Marquette, KI. But seeing the launch control facilities and all that was really something. As far as having one of these launch sites, that seems like it wouldn't be that much fun. So, I don't know what you're talking about, Greg, all the fun you had over here in North Dakota, but... Okay, back on the road. There's our house, right there, see it? There's our house, and now we're headed to... Where are we headed to?
Back to Minnesota, East Grand Forks.
East Grand Forks and spend a night there. And then we're gonna get out of here. Well, this is our little overnight in Grand Forks spot. Cabela's. Got a pretty nice little parking spot right here. And we're gonna wander over this way. Right there. And get some food. Maybe a beer or two. The other side of the bridge is North Dakota. We are back in Minnesota. We went backwards. So tomorrow we're out of here.